Hi, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is your host, Roll Small of Smalley's World, Acts of Love, author of Naked and Ashamed, the story of my life. So, guys, it was as usual so good to have you yesterday, and thank you for your kind comments. As usual, I'm going to tell you to go over to Amazon to go and buy my book, right? It's $5 for the e-copy and $15 for the hard copy. So, guys, you want to read up about the story of my life, all that I've been through. It's a good read. I can definitely say yes. Yeah, the fisherman like I say fish sing, but may I tell you say me, a Cheryl List, my life interested. One over there go buy up my book, read up my story, spread it. And this a room I am more if it spread. So guys, it was as usual, guys. I was so happy to have done that um message yesterday, and I got some positive feedbacks. So this morning I'm here. I know I've mentioned about depression, and let me tell you, depression was because even though I struggled with it for a couple of years, a long while, it's the past. It's just my experience. I've been free of depression for a while now, and thank God it's gonna stay that way. I've been delivered, set free. Depression love to stay over there, so I'm in the right over here, so depression can't come near me again. That was, this is, let's just be clear. I remember yesterday I was somewhere and I was speaking to somebody, and she said, I was telling her about my book. The conversation came about, and she looked at me and she was like, "You went through depression? You're on medication?" No, baby love, me not depend on medication. Me not depend on medication. The only medication me depend, I got God set me free from the depression. You understand? I know she didn't mean it, but I was like, girl, depression has stolen a lot from me, and I refuse to live in that era of my life or that phase of my life. It over, done with. Me can talk about it, me can joke about it because it happened, and there are a lot of people who are silently suffering from depression. Listen to me. It's when I come here and I talk, I'm clutch my pearls. You know when somebody clutch my pearls. I've got me a story, guys. Listen, me, depression is a stealer. It's a stealer. It was so bad for me at one point. I had to be medicated. Me take Xanax, Vilokin, all of them thing there, and it still would not help me. It would put my physical body to rest, but my mind. When you take those medication, it is as if your brain literally shut down. You feel like there's a vice grip on your brain. You're slowly just shut down. I have a friend who referred to it as a go slow. It literally slows you down. Can you imagine if I were to be on medication? I'm gonna come here, so, but I remember one of the reasons, because part of, all right, what I've never said to anybody was this: I was diagnosed as bipolar, with bipolar depression. And y'all guys, you can go ahead and Google what bipolar depression is. Bipolar depression is not something you play with. When people say they're depressed, they're really depressed. And for the most part of it, I wear masks like forever and a day. And it get tiring. Tiring emotionally, psychologically, physically. And I was diagnosed so many years ago, and I this is the reason I stopped taking medication. Not only does it slow you, I was pregnant, and I decided, listen to me, you know what? I don't think I'm going to be in a state of pregnancy and taking medication. It can't work. Not under for me cabinet. Me said no. And I literally would will myself every ounce of psychological, emotional, whatever strength you want to call it. I willed myself. I willed myself. I said I will not take anyone. I mean, just throw away the pill them. Throw away them. You understand? But it has been an it's been a long and rocky journey, and thank God I came I came on the over on the winning side. I thank God for all the persons were there to support me, whether they know it or not. Because you know what depression does, it makes you look inside, you don't say much, and it's a stealer. It steals your joy, everything. As I said yesterday, I remember the days I would sleep for 18, 20 hours and still wake up tired. And people think you're seeking attention. You're not seeking attention. Trust me, it's far from that. It's far from. Never people. Let me tell you something. Don't judge anyone with depression. Don't. You don't know their story. You don't know what anybody has gone through. So don't be that person to judge. Instead of judging, try to understand this whole thing about depression. I realize sometimes I had experience in the pandemic. There was this little girl who she was depressed, and her mother and her parents didn't know. And she just said, "Miss, I'm asking you, don't tell my mommy. I don't want my mommy to be sad." And I don't know what happened to her now because we lost touch because I lost my phone, that sort of thing. And I felt this over. I felt I knew exactly what she felt and what she's going through. And the fact that she was able to express it, and I was so thankful that I could be a listening ear, and I could provide some sort of comfort to that the child. So even children, even though they're not, some of them, they're not able to express certain emotions. You understand? So parents, I'm a parent, y'all are parents. Just have a close relationship with your child. Even a child who, I'm sorry, appears happy is not it can be a child who is depressed. Because guess what, my depression started when I was in grade two, grade three, and it went up to my whole life. And I can tell you, people who remember me from high school or college will tell you, "Oh my gosh, she was this bubbly person," and I'm still bubbly. That not change. Except this is a real, true bubbly person now. And I was always depressed. I was always depressed. I don't know how I managed, but somehow I managed. So just have a good relationship with your kids. um don't assume your child is just being a teenager. They have their own feelings, their own thoughts, their own emotion. Give them the space. Provide them with a space where they can express themselves. Alrighty, a mode full. Y'all remember to subscribe, like, share. Yes, send my business got broad. Make it go viral. Okay, guys. All right. So this morning, this afternoon, wherever you are, what's your time zone that it is? Let me clutch my pearls. So my depression started, as I said, 1994. I was a child. And please, guys, don't calculate my age. I'm as young as I feel like, please. All right, guys. So I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna keep it as brief as possible. But as usual, if you want to know more, just go over the order the book. The e-copy is $5 and enough money. People not have it on the dip at Amazon every day, so might as well y'all get my book, okay? Great. Anyway, I lived with my father's side of the family, my aunt, my grandmother, my grandfather, myself, four of us. So we were this regular family. We went to church. Um, my grandmother would take me to the supermarket, and I was like, "Oh, grandma, the bag is too heavy." And it was just this regular just we just had this regular family dynamics, and it was great. Back in guys, young people and the things that fun in life did nice. No. No, 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 no. Back in the day, there was like, and anybody who is my age, which is about 16, can confirm. Back in the day, there were two television stations. It was JBC and it was CVM. I think CVM came later. And then TV would sign on and sign off. Sign on at 6 o'clock, I think about 9 o'clock you sign off. When they sign off, what came on the screen was the some colors, the blue, the orange, and some other things. And then throughout the day, no TV. And I'm like, no, with TV on 24/7, 365, man. And I had this, we lived at a corner house, and it was like, corner houses are big. We had this big house. This five, was it 5 or 4 bedroom? But it was like that house could make like even 10 times the lease housing scheme now. But it was nice, and we had mango trees and guava trees, and we had a plot at the back where my grandfather used to just plow up and that sort of thing. And I remember Christmas time, when the baking, I used to go in the kitchen, and when nobody is looking, but I stiff out the cake. I'm going to my auntie closet as long as I eat the cake. And when they ask me, you got any cake? No, no, we didn't like. And my grandfather, he was notorious for getting a half side up. A pork eater? My grandfather, the pork eater, my God, you couldn't even open. You couldn't open the oven door because grandpa was mad. Not even the scent off of the pork you couldn't get. I mean, I talk about half a pig. Half a pig, which was a big something you can't even look on it. They have a saying where if you could run down the grunt, you would have eat it too. That's how much of a pork eater he was. But yes, my family dynamics, it was good. I loved my grandmother. My grandmother was the nicest person ever. My auntie, but afraid of her because she's strict, and she was this person who you have to straighten up around, and she don't take foolishness. And my grandfather was even the strictest of her, the stricter of the two. My grandfather, when I know say him a coming out, me behave myself, I care. Oh, you know, may I misbehave because I respected him. We respected the ground that him walking. No, when he came in the evening, because my grandmother was still home wife. When he came home, I would just rush outside, open the gate for him to drive into the garage. And he came in, good evening, Grandpa. Grandpa, how was it? Grandpa, Grandpa, Grandpa. I was just talkative, still talkative. See, me not change. I was so talkative, and he went, because he was never a talkative person. And my aunt, no, if I did something wrong, my grandmother would say, I'm going to call your aunt in New Kingston. And when she comes home, it's not going to be nice. I'm like, yeah, grandma, whatever. Because I love my grandmother, but I think I could have wrapped her right around my little finger at the time. And my grandmother would be on the phone with her because I would go outside and in the street playing bat and ball. And she would be, come inside, come inside. And I'm like, Grandma, I'm playing. I'm not ready yet. But your supper is on the so my granny, prim and proper. Please come inside. Your food is on the table. Come and have dinner, and you need to come in and shower before you all get here. And they need to come here, prim and proper lady. And I would just be outside with my friends, playing, not paying any minds until Mrs. Sundown. And, I would just come inside and do what I'm supposed to do. And one thing about my grandmother, this is why I love this woman so much. I loved her so much. I still do. Is that when I used to go to shift school, so I would either go 7 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock. But I can tell when I went 7 o'clock and came home 12 o'clock, she would I knew every day that she would leave half of her breakfast for me. So those days was brown bread, and that time brown bread nice, man. So she would leave brown bread, toast, of course, and then we had eggs and plantain and tuna. We used to eat like tuna every single day you could think of, right? And she would leave half of her breakfast. She said, "Go in the kitchen and look under I forgot the thing that you use and cover the food. What it's called? I don't remember." But she would say, "Go," and I would eat her half-eaten breakfast, and it was just those days were so nice. And then when was watching TV, we watch Ring Ding, and there was this lady on the TV on JBC who used to do something called Ikebana, which I think is the what is it? It is a Japanese arrangement of flowers, and it was just so nice. It was a different era. It was so nice, man. Nice, 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 nice. And I remember, sorry, the first time I went to New Kingston in an elevator. Even today, I'm afraid of elevators. I remember I went up near to Pegasus, and my auntie and I they were having some party in there. And I went in the elevator and I felt like I was falling. Oh my God, it was the worst feeling. And then, I had a great childhood, man. And then in the summer, I used to go to camp in Mandeville, and we'd meet up at this church sister house at tons of us, and we'd go to Mandeville. It was just so nice. Nice, 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 man. And of course we'd have family come in when somebody died, and you get these foreign sweeties and they tasted like medicine. I did not like that, but I had a strong family dynamic. It was awesome, awesome, awesome. On Sundays, the few Sundays that I didn't go to church and my grandfather would be there, I would sit in his car. He had this white, I think is a Triumph car. It's an old car, but he loved the car, world without end. And then he would, clean up the yard or sort of, and I would just sit in there and say, Grandpa. And I started, Grandpa, Grandpa. And I would ask him all these questions. But as I said, he wasn't a talkative person. When he couldn't take it anymore, he would just burst out laughing. And I never understand that I should stop talking, but he would only laugh, 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 laugh. And I remember we used to get up early, like my grandmother and grandfather would get up in the wee hours of the morning and take me to the country. Like the country was in Clarendon, man. And I would just talk and talk. And then my grandmother would say, we need to turn on the radio. My grandfather said, no, nope, we have a live radio. And I would talk from St. Catherine straight to Clarendon, non-stop, non-stop. So if the drive was 3 hours, 3 hours non-stop. And I just talked and talked. And I remember when my grandfather used to take us to school in the morning, and um in the morning I would call my friends. I had two friends on the avenue we used to call. Grandpa will be ready in 5 minutes, and you drop off at the school gate. And I remember one morning I was going to school and he gave me a $5, man. $5 was like it was or it was is it paper money, but it was paper money. The Paul Bogan money, I don't know which denomination that is now, currency, but that was $2. Was $2 and $5. I got money, man. I feel like I'm rich. I feel like I was rich, man. And anytime there was a funeral, he would, and I was at the bus stop, he would always come and look for me at the bus stop, so I could, instead of taking the taxi home, they'll just carry me home. So I have fond memories of my early life. It was perfect. I couldn't have asked for a better life. And on Saturdays, I used to go to choir practice. Sometimes it was kept at my house because my aunt used to manage it. I don't know if she still does. And um, and it was just so nice. And we would go to the community center, and then we'd walk around to certain avenues, and we would invite persons to church, and it was just a wonderful growing up, and it was just great. It was just great. A great childhood, man. I couldn't ask for anything more. So, may I tell you something? My life was good. So, how did the depression come about? I remember one time my aunt was packing up. She was going to America for a couple of days, and my grandmother, was there, and I realized she was sick. But as a child, you're not really too concerned about that. And she kept on asking me for sugar. So I would go in the kitchen, get some sugar, put it in foil paper, right, and give it to her. And this was happening for a couple of days until my aunt left. I don't even till today I don't know why she was asking me for that, but she kept doing that. And I remember she was sick, and I was there with her one day, and she asked me to help to accompany her to the bathroom. And as usual, I accompanied her, and she sat on the bowl, and she was there, and I saw her just slowly topple over. She hit her head. By the time she toppled over, she hit her head in the bathroom, and I screamed, like I screamed the hell off my head. I screamed off my head. I ran outside, and the neighborhood was so quiet. So when person heard me screaming, they came to my assistance, like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Grandma!" I couldn't even tell them. But all I could say was "Grandma." But it was a lucky thing that I was there, and they came, of course, and they helped. Because in spite of how our society is, Jamaicans were known to help people, and in spite of our culture has changed, we've always been helpful, friendly, wonderful people. You understand? So, they came, and the long and short of it, she was taken to Spanish Town Hospital. It's like my life changed that day, literally changed. Because my world just shattered that day. Because now I had to, since she was in the hospital and I went to school, um, I wouldn't be allowed to stay by myself. My grandfather was at work during the day, and my aunt was at work. So I used to stay at the neighbors. Boy, if I tell you that I wasn't broken when I had to pass the house every day and just walk like few houses down on the same avenue to stay with my neighbor, it if I said I did not feel heartbroken, it was devastating for me. And it was just devastating. And I had to do this for a while. I don't remember how long. As I said, it was 1994. And I don't remember what happened in school, but I was going to, my life was just going to school and then coming home in the afternoons and staying with my neighbor until 6 o'clock when either my grandfather came or my aunt came. But I tell you, the house was never the same. It was, I felt like that day I lost a part of me. All right. I don't know who can relate to this, but when I was growing up, this is why I love that woman so much. When I was a child, what used to happen, I slept bad. Let's used to say I sleep like a worm. And she would put the iron board on the bed so that I wouldn't fall off. That's how bad I slept. And in the nights, 2 or 3 times, she would wake me up so I would go into the bathroom to pee. Also, when it was time for me to shower in the bathroom in the morning, she would wake me up and I'd go in the bathroom, lay down on the carpet, and like like, and turn on the shower like I'm bathing. But she would always knew that I'm not showering. I'm actually laying down bathroom, and she's like, "Come, get up!" And she was just soft spoken. Oh, she was like, "Get up! Oh, you have to shower so you and Grandpa can so Grandpa can take you to school." And I was like, and eventually I'd get up and I'd shower, put on my clothes, and eat my breakfast, call my friends, and go to school. So I, I had this we had this dynamic. I mean, which grandmother do that these days? Talk it truth. Those grandmothers were grandmothers. So you see how devastating it would have been losing somebody like her. And I remember the first time I was going to go to Spanish Town Hospital. I remember I was in this pastel dress. It was pink, but it was not. It was past pink and blue and all these colors, but they were, uh, if I say it was pastel, but it was not too white, not too. It was a mixture of everything, not tie dye. And I remember going to Spanish Town. I was like, okay, this is a hospital, because before that I've never been there. And I saw my grandmother, but when I looked at her, I knew she wasn't the grandmother that I knew. And man, we used to visit her and talk to her, and she was she knew that I was there. And I remember, there was this lady beside her. Every time we went there, the lady was like, "Fire! Fire!" I'm like, me with my small prim self, like, what is wrong with you? Like this lady, "Fire! Fire! Burn me!" And she would cry for fire, 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 fire. But I didn't even understand then why she was behaving that way. But I was so concerned about my grandmother. I know the day that it all crashed down. This is where my life began to spiral. I remember one Saturday, I was home, and of course, on a Saturday, my mother would go and look for my grandmother because they were close. Even though she and my father weren't together, she would go to the hospital. And I remember my grandfather drove in, and looking back, I could have seen how solemn his face was. And oh Lord, this brings back memories. I remember they taking out those pills, and the pillars, they had some pillars with some blue pillars with some. If you're a baby of the 80s and 90s, some shocking color, something with some pattern and all kind of stuff, and they took out the pillar, and I was like, "Mommy, where's grandma? Where's grandma?" And she said, "She's not coming home." I was like, "Why?" She said, "Your grandmother died." Died. And I'm like, "Okay, whatever." "Mommy, where's grandma?" She said, "She's not coming home. She's not coming home." And I'm like, "Grandpa, where's grandma? Where's grandma? Where's grandma?" And he didn't answer. And then I realized she's dead, man. It took me years to recover from that. I remember years later, I saw the pictures of when we were walking from the house to the church, and you could see the sadness written all over my face. People, you might say, it's just a grandmother, but she was everything to me at that time. Everything. She was this type of person who the garbage men used to fight, cuss over, because my grandmother would, um, she was a sort of person who she knew all the garbage people by name, and she would leave a envelope, those little brown envelopes, and she would at that time she would give them $5. And when somebody give $5, enough money that. You understand? That was more than $5,000. And if a 10 of them come, she would give 10 of them. And if she wasn't going to be there, she would leave it with us and say, when they come, just give them that. Every Christmas, every Easter, every holiday you could think of, she always had something to give them. And if she came outside when they came for the garbage, she would say, "How many of you today?" And I tell you something, those men, I tell you, and anybody who knew her can testify, everybody got something to eat. She was like, "All right, just give me a few minutes," and she would take out the tray with the food and the drinks, and it was the same stuff we drank out of. Because my grandmother taught me never to scorn anybody. You understand? It doesn't matter what sort of profession, you don't scorn people. And she was just this awesome, wonderful woman. So you can see why I was devastated. I was crushed when she died. I was crushed. I was crushed. And there goes my childhood. I eventually had to go live with my mom. And my mom was awesome, always has been, you know, always will be. But I was crushed. And as a youngster, I didn't know how to to process guilt. All I felt was dead inside. No, yes, how you feel dead inside? Me feel locked off. Um, I felt locked off from the entire world. I felt hurt, crushed, devastated, despondent. I had friends at school, but I would never allow anybody to know me in such a way. I would know you, but you. And I didn't have much friends in high school. If I did, it was for only for a time because I couldn't allow myself to get close to anybody because of fear of losing someone, which was too great. It was too profound for me, and I don't think I could have managed I could have managed. So, it was a period that was the time that, it crushed me. It crushed me, honestly. And it took me years, absolutely years, for me to get over. It was when I was about 19 that I began to talk about it. I had a counselor and I began to talk about it. And I got some, because I had internalized so much for so long that I didn't even know how I felt anymore. I just knew I was lost. And it was a lot of undoing. It took years for me to build up. I built up walls. I didn't love people. I didn't trust people, all of those. But it took years for me to undo. And guys, that is my journey from, how my depression started. No, guys, I mean, as I said, don't judge nobody. You don't know what anybody is going through. I remember when she died, I I felt so lost, like lost beyond repair. I'm lost. You understand? There's more to this story, guys, but I think I said too much for today. It's a lot, guys. I thank you guys for giving me the platform, the space to just express myself. Anyway, I'm gonna tell you again, like I'm telling you at the beginning of the video, go over Amazon, find the book. The story is there. I'm not going to say that it's a best story, but it's a truthful story. Um, all the parents here, I'm asking you, just be attentive, patient, understanding, loving to your your children. Provide them a space, a ear. I know that we get busy and we get caught up in all these things, and allow them to express themselves, because unexpressed emotions or feelings leads a problem. You understand? Anyway, guys, thank you. Like, share, subscribe. I hope this gives you some encouragement. I hope this will give you some insight into depression. Remember, Naked and Ashamed, the story of my life. So, guys, I love you. Keep on watching. Keep on sending me those messages, and have yourself a blessed day wherever you are.